16 Steps off of the In Rainbows album, which we will be playing in its entirety tonight. Now, today we have a special guest with us. Why don't you say hello, Mark? How are you?
Hello, how you doing? My name's Mark Stinson.
All right, Mark. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
I am 54 years old. I am the executive director over Naamans Recovery Village here in High Point. It was a blessing to have that dropped in my lap after being homeless for 12 years and being an alcoholic and addict. 2 years ago, I totally surrendered and gave my life to God. And ever since then, I've worked with the homeless. I'm affiliated with Street Watch Ministries in Greensboro, 16 Cents Ministries in Greensboro. I'm on the board of directors for Church Under the Bridge. And like I say, I am the executive director over a recovery center. So whenever you pray to God, He will bless you with things that you don't have no idea about. Because 2 years ago, I would have never believed that I would be in the position to be helping other recovering alcoholics and addicts. And now I have 6 gentlemen that are in the same house that I am in. And this was dropped in my lap, like I said. The guy asked me to pray about it, and I prayed about it for a week because it's a non-paying job. I just get room and board. And so I quit a paying job. I know that sounds crazy.
You quit a paying job?
You quit a paying job?
Yes, I did. I was getting paid. I was paying rent at a program that I was in there for 2 years. And I just seen the need for, I got such a heart for homelessness and addicts and alcoholics because I am one, that I knew I could be of help and of service to somebody else and to get out of my own self-will.
Now, Mark, tell us a little bit about how you actually ended up in homelessness, and then tell us a little bit more how you got out of it.
Well, back in 1999, due to drugs and alcohol, my marriage had ended. I found myself facing several charges and looking at 47 years in jail in a county here and close by called Davidson County. And so the sheriff at that time was named Gerald Hagee. He talked to me and he says, "Mark, I know you. I've known you all your life. I know your wife's family and everything." He says, "I know that this is just something that you just lost your cool and everything." He says, "But I'm going to make you an offer." He says, "If you'll leave Davidson County, I'll drop all the charges. And, except for DWI, you'll have to face that one." And so I did. And so I talked to the probation officer about it, and I told him I needed to get changed to a different county. Within 8 hours' time, he had me changed to Guilford County in Greensboro. So I left Davidson County with nothing but an army duffel bag full of clothes and never looked back. And so I stayed on the streets. I tried to live in motels and stuff and work a job, but whenever you're only making $240 a week and the room's costing you $220 a week, it's kind of hard to survive that way. So I just gave up hope. I wanted the streets to eat me alive. My marriage had done ended. Drugs had done took hold of that, and alcohol was taking hold of me, and I just didn't care anymore. So I lived in the woods. I built a hut, and I lived there until about 6-7 years ago, back 2008, they started surveying to run the greenway through where I was at there in Greensboro, and so people came and started talking to me and helping me, and that was the ladies of Street Watch Ministries, and they loved me till I could love myself, and they tried to help me, bless their hearts, several times. I would go in and live with people, and I don't know, I just couldn't grasp coming back to live in society. I couldn't grasp that reality because I'd lived in the woods so long that, I had such a freedom there that I couldn't come back into society and the laws and the rules and everything. I had my own laws and rules and my own trust issues. That was the biggest thing. I had trust issues because I couldn't trust nobody, because that's the way you do. You build the walls so high whenever you live out there. You can't trust anybody that's around you. I mean, even the homeless is steal from the homeless, and that's sad to say, but that would happen. Until finally, one day, 2 years and 2 months ago, I came back to my camp, and my tent was cut up, my stuff was strolled out everywhere, and I just threw up my hands and surrendered. And I said, God, you know that I know that you know that I can live better than this. I've owned houses, I've had rental property, I've had a 10-acre farm, I've had it all. I've had motorcycles and everything that, you know, money could buy. But this time, it wasn't about the money. It was about the kind of life that I was going to live. So I surrendered. I said, your will's going to be done and not mine. And from now on, I'll do whatever. And so I went from treatment center. I stayed at a 14-day program. Well, I went to a 14-day program, stayed there 18 days, went to a 90-day program, stayed there 87 days, left straight from there, went to a 2-year program, and I lacked 2 months whenever the man offered me this opportunity job, I guess you could say, but I don't get paid, so you can't really call it a job. I call it a ministry. You know, God's blessing to me to be to others. Hopefully that somebody can get what I got whenever I surrendered and got rid of my own will and let God have it. Now I run a house, like I say, with 6 guys in it. There's a thrift store affiliated with it. There's a lawn care business affiliated with it. I'm over all that. I wear many different hats. And I mean, I work 24/7 with that, and I'm still doing Church Under the Bridge for the homeless and 16-6 Ministry. I'm still on their board of directors. I still go around and speak. I also do outreach for Naamans Village, Naamans Recovery Village, because we survive off of community donations. You know, that's how we operate. We're not government funded by no means. It's all through the community, churches, and, you know, just people giving us love donations and everything like that, you know.
First question.
Yes. How long did you say exactly that you were homeless for?
I was homeless for 12 years.
12 years.
Actually, really, I'm still homeless, considered homeless, because even though I'm living inside, it's my job. If I was to lose that job, they would send me back out on the streets, you know. So I'm basically really still homeless.
Yeah.
Now, Mark, you were describing us to how, you know, you help all these people out who were in a similar situation than you are. And I think both me and Michael would, you know, tip our hats off to you for that.
Absolutely.
Now, what would you say is the primary thing that keeps you going?
Knowing that God brought me through what He did, and He taught me a wonderful lesson, and that's the thing I can say, that whenever things are going bad and it's really tough and rough, just look at it as a learning lesson, because God, if God will bring you to it, He'll bring you through it, you know, and that's my motto, and that's what I try to, you know, help people with, because He brought me through so many things. I mean, you know, even being out there homeless, I was beaten. I've been spit at, I've had stuff thrown at me,
Wow.
I've been talked down to, you know, because I'm not worthy of anything, you know. That's the society that we live in, though. I mean, if you don't have everything fancy or whatever, you ain't worth nothing, and, you know, that's not true. I got a sign in my office that says, how was it? You're not rich by the amount of money you have in your bank account, it's by the size of your heart.
Very true.
I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah. Mark, what would you say, describe to our audience what the homelessness situation out in High Point looks like?
Right now, the homeless situation here is not really as bad because they have gotten to where most of them's in homes or into a shelter somewhere. I talked with a pastor just the other day, and he said that the High Point's homeless is very, very low. But I can say this too, they probably all moved to Greensboro because that's where the biggest homeless population is, because used to you could get a permit to fly a sign, which means you could get out there and beg for money if you had the permit. High Point don't allow you to fly signs. I think Greensboro is getting to where they're cutting that out because it's become such a big nuisance of people pulling up in the parking lot in a BMW and walking out there and, you know, getting money, and they're not even homeless. So that's one thing. Whenever we go around to talk to the homeless, we find out where their camps are. You know, we make sure that they are living out in the woods. Now, if somebody tells you that, oh, I'm way down over yonder, I don't believe that, because they're probably going to get in a vehicle up there in the parking lot, you know. And it's hard to tell who's homeless and who's not, because, you know, somebody could give you a new pair of clothes and you be homeless, you know. They see you and you're in rags and tore up shoes, but somebody gives you something new to wear, and you wear it, and, you know, you sport it and everything, and you don't really look homeless. But then again, you could be unshaven, you know, could be smelling pretty right, you know, because you hadn't had a shower. But like I say, you know, majority of them's in Greensboro, and Greensboro in the last, I'd say, 5 to 6 years has really opened up their doors. I mean, with so many churches opening up, there's even a church, I believe it's First Presbyterian, that'll go around and get homeless people up there at Center City Park and take them and let them take a shower, which there's also the IRC where they can go take a shower, wash clothes, you know, look for jobs and stuff like that. So there's so many different avenues now opening up than whenever I first became homeless, because there was only 2 churches that served a breakfast on Sunday, a church that served dinner on Wednesday night, and then of course, you know, everybody says, "Why don't you go to the shelter and eat?" You know, they feed 3 times a day. Well, you can't eat there but once a day, and that's during lunch, because you have to be a resident in order to eat breakfast and supper there. You know, a lot of people don't understand the rules and regulations that you have to go by. You got a length of 68 days that you're allowed to stay there, and then you can't go back for a year. So what you gonna do for that year after you spend 68 days? Live in the woods or abandoned building or a house somewhere, you know, just to survive. But whenever I first started, it was those 3 places or 4 places, or eat out of the dumpster behind the food line whenever they threw out their meat that they couldn't sell no more. You know, that's basically how I lived and survived.
Daniel or Kristen, would you guys like to get in on this?
Yeah, Daniel, Kristen, do you have a question for Mark here?
Well, I just want to say you have a really powerful success story, and that's really cool.
It's God. I tell you, it's all God.
He works in mysterious ways.
I just did the footwork, you know. He's blessed me with everything that I have today, and I'm grateful.
Yeah. Well, Mike, Kristen, anyone else?
I was wondering, you said that God's been very, very helpful for you, and obviously He has. How long has God been a part of your life, or has it always been a part of your life?
Actually, He's always been there. I just didn't receive Him. I didn't want nothing to do with Him. I lost my parents due to cancer. I lost my brother due to cancer just a few years ago. But whenever I lost my dad and my mom, I really just grew away from Him, because, you know, those was my 2 precious people. They was the people that knew me and understood me. Nobody else in this world ever understand you like your parents do, you know.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever they was gone, you know, I like, God, why'd you do that, you know, and I hated Him. But today I can say I love him because he loved me all the way through it, and he kept me safe, as safe as possible, you know. I mean, yeah, I did have times whenever I was beat up or whatever, or my head was cracked open, I had 21 stitches and stuff like that, you know. But that was just, now I look back, hey, I lived and I survived. You know, I'm not really mentally disturbed. I'm mentally disturbed, but not too bad, you know. And I'm physically still able to do things. I mean, even a year ago in September, I was sitting still at a stoplight on my scooter, and a car rear-ended another one, bounced off of it, and run over me. I'm talking about run over me. And the only thing that happened was it knocked my hip out of place and tore some ligaments in my foot.
So you got run over by a car?
Yeah.
And
1970 Buick LeSabre.
what?
Sitting still at a red light.
Oh my God!
Now, on that note, I mean, you have to tell us here, students here at High Point University, you know, like what in your mind can we do to help out with the situation? How can we get involved with the community?
Well, like I was saying, Ward Street Missions, they do a community outreach for food. I know the pastor there, he's looking for people from your university to help out with that. You know, I could use help at the thrift store. I love donations, anything, you know. And the main thing is, always remember that everybody is somebody. There's somebody's brother, mother, sister.
Very true.
You know, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandparent. And if you ever see anybody having a bad day, don't join in with them and get all grumpy and ill. Just smile at them and say, have a blessed day, you know. You'd be surprised how somebody could turn somebody's day around and make it a happy day for them, because you never know what they're going through, you know. I mean, it's a blessing, and I always welcome all you young people to come over and, you know, just sit around and talk to the guys and maybe learn something that help you keep from being where I'm at today, you know. That's the main thing, because, you know, the younger generations, you know, that's our future. Y'all are.
Well, we certainly enjoyed having you, Mark. It was a real pleasure.
Yes, Mark. Thank you
for having me.
Thank you so much for being on the show. It was absolute pleasure having you. Thank you so much.
I hope somebody out there has heard this and it helps you. And if you need any help with anything, get in touch with Naamans Recovery Village, and I'll be glad to talk with you. Thank you.
No, thank you, Mark.
Yes, thank you very much, Mark. All right.